boys and girls, and welcome back to Sunday School. We are continuing our big story of God's forever kingdom that is found in the Bible. And today's story is from the book of Genesis, the first book in the Bible in the Old Testament. Let's take a look at our poster picture. What do you see in this picture? I wonder who this man is. I wonder what he's doing. I wonder what he sees in the sky. Is there anything else you are wondering about in this picture? Let's hear more in our story. Many years after God's covenant with Noah, God made another covenant promise to a man named Abraham. God said to Abraham, "Leave your country and your relatives and go to the land I will show you. I will bless you and make you into a great nation, and all the peoples on earth will be blessed through you." This was a very important promise from God, and it is our memory verse for today. Let's read it together. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Genesis 12:2-3. God promised to bless Abraham so that he could be a blessing to others. God was calling Abraham and his family to be a light to other nations, to be an example of loving and obeying God, so other nations could also know the one true God. And Abraham listened to God and obeyed him. Abraham took his wife Sarah and all their belongings and journeyed off to the land that God would show them, the promised land called Canaan. At this time, Abraham and Sarah were old and did not have any children. But God's promise was for Abraham to become a great nation. God said to Abraham, "Look up into the sky. There are so many stars you cannot count them. Just like the stars, your descendants will be too many to count." The word descendants means children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so on. Abraham had to wait 25 more years for this promise to be fulfilled. When Abraham was 100 years old and Sarah was 90, they had their first son and named him Isaac. Because Abraham believed God's word and obeyed him, God gave him the people, the place, and the blessing that he had promised. He led Abraham to the promised land, Canaan, and gave Abraham many descendants. In fact, Abraham had so many descendants that there were too many to count, just like the stars in the sky. And the final blessing came many years later when Jesus was born. He was one of Abraham's descendants too. Jesus came as the greatest blessing for all the people on earth, just as God had promised. Wow! God really did keep his big promise to Abraham. God always keeps his promises. That's our story for today. Bye for now. We'll see you next week.